Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk all about my everyday brushes. I'm going to go over them thoroughly, so if you're interested, let's just go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so before we get started, I need to go ahead and address something. I hate starting videos off like this, but in my last video I talked about synthetic brushes and natural hair brushes. Now in this video I do have 3 natural hair brushes, so I'll pull them out for you. And I'll make sure that I list dupe for these down below, just because again, like I mentioned in my last video, I do not like to promote non-cruelty free products, so I will post dupes for these in the description box below, and I'll also post where you can buy every single one of these brushes. With that being said, let's just go ahead and get started. So I think I'm just going to go in the order of how I do my face in the morning, so I'm just going to go ahead and start off with my brows. If you've seen my brow routine video, you most likely already know which brushes I'm going to pull out. These are both by Morphe. The first one that I have is a Morphe E23, like it's so worn out I can't even read that. But it's an E23 brush, so it has just bristles on this part and then it's angled on this side. And I love this one because it's super dense and it gets my brows pretty sharp, I think. And then the next brush is my Morphe E40. Again, this one's also really worn out because I use these every single day. I cannot do my brows without these brushes. If you don't have these, I really recommend them. They're by Morphe, so again, they're super affordable and super cheap. Maybe 90% of my brushes are Morphe, so these are all pretty affordable brushes. After my brows, I tend to go straight for foundation, and I haven't been using my beauty blender lately because my husband bought me this rose gold kit by Morphe, and this is one of the brushes that came in the kit. So it doesn't really have a number or anything, but this is what it looks like. I'll link the entire kit down below, but it's just a flat top foundation brush, and I've been having a lot of problems with my Fenty Beauty one, but whenever I apply it with this brush for whatever reason, it goes on pretty seamlessly, so I've been really loving this brush a lot. So after I set my concealer and I need to bake, the first brush that I grab is my Morphe M438. Now this is a perfect brush because it fits perfectly under here, and then I also use it to bake the sides of my nose. I used to use it to bake away the sides of my face, but I have another brush that I discovered that I recently love for that. So this is also a really good option for baking. The other setting brush that I have is my Morphe MB3, and this is just a large powder brush and it gets in a lot of areas really well. These two brushes work really well together. Like at first I thought this one would leave like kind of weird marks, and then this one would leave like weird bumps in my skin because it used to do that with the beauty blender whenever I was using Fenty foundation. But for whatever reason, this brush works really well to put all of my powder all over my face. So again, it's a Morphe MB38, so it's just a really large brush that I like to use all over my face, and it sets everything down really nicely. After you set your face, of course, you want to go ahead and contour, and then this is also from that rose gold collection. I really love the collection. So this is just a small tapered brush, so I kind of use this to go into the hollows of my cheeks and then around my forehead and in my jaw area. I like to use brushes like this versus like an angled brush because I feel like it really just gets in there and you can be pretty precise with it. So I really love this brush and I really recommend this. So the other brush that I use for bronzing is the Morphe M527. This is a natural hair brush, so I will make sure to list dupes for it. So I use this one, and I bought this one just because it's kind of a staple in the beauty industry, so I decided to go for it a while back. So whenever this one is done and the hair starts to fall apart, of course I'll get synthetic brushes instead, but I like to use this one for bronzing because it's just nice and big and it kind of gets everywhere, not necessarily contouring, but it's a pretty good brush. So I really like this one as well. Now to dust off my bake and then to kind of blend everything together, I use this larger one, which is kind of like that smaller tapered brush that we talked about earlier from the same collection. So I just use this one to dust off the bake that I have setting here, and then also to blend everything together so nothing's too harsh and I don't have like a super weird line. So I kind of just do this so everything kind of blends in together, and then I'll just kind of tap it over my face so my contour, my blush, and my highlighter kind of all blend in together. Speaking of blush, my favorite blush brush of all time is this one by Morphe. It is a Y4 brush. Now again, like I said, I usually don't like angled brushes, but this one is just my favorite because my cheeks are kind of big, so this one kind of gets in there really nicely and I really love it. I used to use kind of like a flatter one, but this one just gets the job done really nicely. And then Manny MUA raved about this, and when I heard it was a synthetic brush, I was like, hell yeah, I have to get it, and I've really been loving this one. Now I have 2 different brushes when I like to do my nose. The first one for my nose contour is the Morphe E47. So it's just a very firm and dense brush. I like to use it to go right down the sides of my nose, and then I've seen Jaclyn Hill use this brush to make kind of like a cat eye effect, so she puts setting powder and then wipes it away. So there's a lot of uses for this brush. I really love it. It's really sturdy. So again, this is a Morphe E47. And then I use this blending brush by the brand Besttope. Honestly, this is Amazon gift little thing that I got. So it's just a big kit that I got when I first started using makeup, but for whatever reason, I really like this brush for blending out the sides of my nose because this one can be kind of harsh. So I just kind of go back with this one and I blend everything together and it works really well. Of course, you can always use any type of blending brush that you like. If you want, I can always list the link for this one down below as well. Okay guys, so now we're going to go ahead and go straight into highlighting brushes. My favorite crayon brush by Morphe is this one. It is the G23, so I like to use this one to cover my entire cheeks because again, I think I have pretty big cheeks, so this one kind of covers most of the surface of them. I also used to like it on my forehead, on my nose, and then I use this one for a more precise highlight, so if I want to put a more intense highlight on top but I want to make something pop. This is the Morphe M501. This is an absolute staple and you need this for a highlighting brush. The last one that I have is my Morphe M507. It's kind of like a mini version of the M501. I like to use this one like right on the tip of my nose, down the bridge, the inner corners, and then right here on the brow bone. I also like to use this on my Cupid's bow. So I think these three are really great options and again, super affordable, and I'll list them down for you. So I saved all of my eye brushes for last because we all know that takes a lot of time. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that I like to blend from here on up to my eyebrow and I like to cover a lot of surface. A really good brush for that is the Morphe E43. So this is what it looks like. It's just a really large kind of dome brush and I love it because again, it just covers so much surface area and it blends everything seamlessly. Another brush that I really like is the Morphe M441, another staple, but it's also a natural haired brush. This one I like to use in my crease, but I do have a synthetic dupe for this one. It is the BH Cosmetics number 12 brush. So as you can see, they're pretty similar. The BH Cosmetics one is just a little bit bigger, so you can probably get more precise with this one, but it is pretty much a dupe. I love them both a lot. Another natural haired brush that I like is the Morphe M433. I'll list a synthetic option down below as I do not have one right now, but I like to use this in the outer V, and if I'm doing any type of halo eye, this is pretty good in getting in here and then kind of blending out. It blends out pretty seamlessly, so I really like this one. Next, I have two different packing brushes. I have one by Colourpop and then the other is by Wet n Wild. You've probably seen me use both of these. When it comes down to it, I really like the Colourpop one more over this one just because this one picks up a lot of product and it's way more intense on the synthetic hair versus this kind of plasticky hair. So if you're going to go for any of them, I really recommend the Colourpop one. I think the Colourpop one is like $6 and this one's 99 cents. So they're both really affordable. I would just recommend spending a few extra bucks and going for the Colourpop one. I just like the Wet n Wild one in case this one's ever dirty, then I just have this one that kind of epps back up. The last brush I'm going to talk about is one by Anastasia, and I just got this one in the Modern Renaissance palette. If you have any Anastasia palettes, I'm sure you've gotten this brush before. It's just a fluffy brush on one end and then a small tapered brush on the other end. So I like to use this one to kind of go under my lash line, and then I like to use this kind of part to smoke it out. And then of course if I need to go something deeper or more intense, then I only use this one. But this brush is actually really good and kind of can also be a dupe for the M443. I'll kind of put them next to each other, so you can see what they look like. This one's again a little bit more fluffy than this one. Most synthetic brushes will end up kind of going out and being a little bit more fluffy than the natural hair ones, but when this one's a brand new one, it's pretty close to being a dupe. Okay guys, so that brings us to the end of this video. I hope that you really enjoyed me going over my favorite brushes that I use every single day. If not every single day, I use them maybe every other day. Make sure you check all the information down below on all the brushes, and then make sure you also enter my giveaway. It is ending this Saturday. I will see you guys next week for another video. Bye! Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk all about my everyday... What?
Slow down, baby. Hi loves, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about... Slow down, mommy.
But I talk like that, you know.
Slow down, like that. Baby. Just tone it down like a fucking second or something, like a millisecond. Go.
Hello.
No, don't be Siri either. No, just tone it down a little bit.
But I talk like that. That's just the way that I talk.
It's like you're fucking Twista and shit. Fucking 160 syllables per second. Come on.
No, I can't do it.
Go.
Hello, my loves. Shut the